Tonight, the city of Lagos once agog as all routes
Be the first to know from the north, south, east, west, and around Africa. We break the news.
One Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News,
Welcome to Core
a
TV News.
24-hour news station.
Good morning and welcome to Core Digest. I am Martins Dixon. Today we will be looking at the national conference that has just ended and reactions that has followed at so many of the recommendations and whether those recommendations will have to go to the National Assembly or not. And so many issues that has trailed the just concluded national conference. And we are opportune this morning to have in the studio one of the delegates at the national conference that's going to help us look at these issues from the perspective of a delegate. So today we're looking at national conference, awaiting Jonathan's implementation, a delegate's perspective. I have here in the studio Yinka Odumakin. Sir, you're welcome to Core Digest.
Morning.
Thank you for being here. Right. I will start on this general note, and let me say we want to have your own view of the national conference. How will you assess the whole process from the beginning or until it ended?
Well, I think the 2014 National Conference has come as a big revelation and a pleasant surprise, the way the conference came, the way it was conducted, and the outcome of the conference. There were trepidations at the beginning that this was a conference that was going to mar Nigeria. And cynics were even saying that, oh, no, this was conveyed for a different purpose, it was a hidden agenda and the rest. And when we started, there were so many disagreements, first of all, over the majority threshold that the conference was almost going to break up. And here, then and now, there were moments when it was as if the whole roof was going to come down, cave in. But by trustful give and take, we sat for over 4 months. We've passed over 600 resolutions. I would not have to vote once. And at the end of the day, I think we made key recommendations on many topical issues that previous conferences have not been able to touch since independence. And if this report is well implemented, fully implemented, I believe Nigeria will move in a different direction.
Now taking your last statement, would you say that the national conference is a success?
Oh, it was a huge success.
And why would you say it's a success?
Because, like I told you, we had a conference of 492 Nigerians from all walks of life. We sat for over 4 months. We had disagreements, very bitter ones, but at the end of the day, we were able to pass over 600 resolutions without having to divide the House once on any of those resolutions. And when we look at those key recommendations, they are recommendations that can pull Nigeria back to Nigeria that works. For instance, we took a decision that states must have their own police. We have serious security challenge in our country. The uniform police system that we have at present now, it cannot cope with the security challenges. State government are spending quite a lot of fortunes to supplement the federal police, which they do not control. Now, so instead of this, let the state have their own police. That was a major decision in terms of security in this country. We look at the exclusive legislative list. There are so many items that should be on the concurrent, which is on the exclusive, and which is hindering the progress of this country. For instance, mines, mineral explorations. We took that off the exclusive list because at the moment, what the law says that only the federal government can deal with mines and mineral resources. Okay. Now, the federal government is busy with oil. What happens is that illegal miners having a feed day, digging a gold everywhere and the rest now. And I say, no. We are losing a lot of money, a lot of resources. Today, if we stop selling oil for a month, only Lagos State can afford to pay the salaries of its workers. And so let's have a new paradigm shift. We also look at the structure of the country. We look at the cost of governance. We said the presidential system, as it is now, we should modify it. In fact, some of us went for outright parliamentary system. But when that would not gel, we had what we call modified presidential system of government, which will allow us to cut costs of governance. Also, people have talked so much about the immunity clause for president and governors. This conference took a hard look at it and yanked it off our constitution. That immunity clause for criminal offences shall not be seen as law books for president and governors. So if you know that you have criminal tendencies, don't go into the kitchen because there will heat there. We also look at this local government, for instance. We said in any federation, you have 2 tiers of government. The central government and the federation units. It's an abnormality to have 3 tiers in a federation. We said, okay, delete local government from the federal constitution. Let them become residual. Let the state decide the number of local government they want, their operation, their functions, and that henceforth, resources will be shared only between the federal government and the state governments. And more importantly, we said the states should have their own constitution. We have said states, a group of states can come together to have zonal commissions. And so, when you look at this and other far-reaching recommendations we took, I would say that this conference was a huge success.
All right, you've enumerated quite a lot of issues that has been resolved and recommendations that have been put forth by this committee. Before we go into the implementation, let me take a little of some of those things you've highlighted, and let's see how much in depth you could help us understand those recommendations and resolutions. Now, let's look at the issue of the states having their own constitutions. Don't you think is going to create a lot of arbitrariness? Looking at the recent past, we have some states in Nigeria have said they want to implement a different law, which is the Sharia system law, that they want to operate by, and that is at variance with the law that the federal government is operating with. When we have states beginning to come up with their own constitutions, and we will begin to have a lot of friction and a lot of bridges on the way people should live their lives across the country.
Well, I don't... unity is not about uniformity. If some states say they want to operate under Sharia, if Zamfara say they want to do under Sharia, what's my business in Lagos to say that they should not live under Sharia? Look, I'll give you an example of UAE, United Arab Emirates today. Dubai has got the tourist destination in the whole world today because they've relaxed strict Sharia. United Arab Emirates is a good, it's a federation. If you go to Oman, you go to Abu Dhabi, the things you can do in Dubai, you cannot do them there. But Dubai, that has relaxed all those laws, that has created a liberal environment, knows what is benefiting from it. So that is no issue at all. For as long, it's about self-determination. If some people say they want to live under Sharia, let them have it. If there's a space in Nigeria today that say that we want to live under the government Boko Haram, let them have it. What you cannot do is to say that I want to impose on everybody. Once you want to do it within your own location, fine, all well and good. So, what is this? And this is not a new thing. In the First Republic, go to the 1960 Constitution of Nigeria. Within the 1960 Constitution of Nigeria, you see the Constitution of the Western Nigeria, Constitution of Northern Nigeria, and Constitution of Eastern Nigeria. So it's not the new thing we are talking about. That is the practice into federalism. Go to America today. Every state in America has their own constitution. You cannot leave everything to arbitrariness. In fact, what you do now allows so much arbitrariness at state levels. And don't forget, some of these places we are calling states in Nigeria, they are countries in many of the West African states. Lagos is close to 18 million people. There are countries that are 188,000 people in West Africa. So what are we talking about? So in fact, go to the United Nations today. There's a country called Nauru. There are less than 10,000 people. So I would now say now that states that have millions of people cannot have their constitution. I don't want to be governed. So it's the right thing to do.
All right. There's this issue that was almost impossible for the House to come into conclusion with, and that is the issue of how the resources is going to be shared between states and all that. And what was the way forward, and how was that resolved?
Well, I think on the sharing of state resources between federal government and state government we resolved. We said federal government 42%, state 58%. That was resolved. Where the rubber hit the road was over the question of derivation. You know, in the First Republic, when you go to First Republic, derivation was 50%. Each region retained 50% of their resources and 50% of the distributed pool. That was the era when everybody was bringing something on the table. But the reason why derivation became so contentious at this conference and at every previous conferences in the past is because some sections are bringing on the table, some sections are not bringing anything on the table. And I give you the figures. If you take what was shared between 2009 and 2012 in 4 years, look at the figures from the Federation Councils. The South, because of oil, in those 4 years, put averaging of 68%. Southwest, average of 23%. Southeast, average of 80%. Northeast, 0%. Northwest, 0.0%. North Central, 0.00%. Now, when you go to how it was distribution, local governments sharing, for instance, the 3 zones in the north that contributed 0% to 54%. The 3 zones in the south that contributed 100% to 46%. Now, in Yoruba language, they say that that food sharing is not a pleasant experience when it's only one party that's providing. So that was why there's so much hue and cry. Because if everybody is bringing something on the table now, everybody is shouting that we want more increase in derivation. And so, but we said it's not fair for the South-South. In the 2005 Obasanjo conference, what was set for was 18%. They came to the comment, they said 125%. We said, okay, what we should do is that let's give the South-South 5% more to increase to 18%. Let's create another 5% to explore the mineral resources in every other part of Nigeria. And there are large deposits when you look at the geological map of Nigeria. And that in the next 5-10 years, every section of Nigeria will say we want more derivation because they are now bringing something out of their soil. And that was going to stay through until our friends from the Core North now came and said, okay, we agree for that 5% in the derivation, increase derivation. That 5% for mineral resources, but we must also give us 5% for insurgency and terrorism to take care of area devastated by Boko Haram. And I said, you cannot write Boko Haram into our constitution now. Boko Haram, terrorism is terrorism. It's a temporary problem. I don't want to constitutionalize it and now turn into a derivation item. If you want derivation, go and look for all those calcium, kaolin, gold, bring them out and ask for derivation, but don't ask for derivation based on Boko Haram. At that stage, it was clear that there were forces that wanted to use that one issue to truncate the entire conference and destroy every over-surrounding region that we have passed. And at every conference, if you go back, it has always been a thorny issue. In 1988, for instance, that conference could not agree on derivation. In the Abacha conference, in fact, the conference was going to split over derivation until the late Shehu Yaradua said, okay, gentlemen, let's do it this way. They set up a committee of 9. Let each person put a figure what should be the derivation. When they put the average, it was 12.3%. That was around 13%. And I said, okay, this time around, let's not allow this to do it. Let's refer this matter to the president to set up a technical committee to advise on what the percentage should be, rather than us, because we will be hard put to explain to people how we said we should now approve 5% of our budget to be allocated as a derivation based on Boko Haram activities.
All right. Now, looking at all these issues, one very contentious issue that you talked about initially is also, quickly from that we go to implementation, is the issue of creation of the state police. Yeah. And so many people have argued against it based on the fact that they say politicians are going to use it to abuse power and to go after their opponents unnecessarily. Now, when it's created, how will that aspect of the state police be controlled or be prevented from abuse?
Well, it's like saying that because there will be accidents. people should not drive cars. Or because people are likely to have a headache, you should cut off their heads. No. You look for treatment for headache. You put rules on the road to ensure safety on the road. You cannot say because somebody will jump in a river, then people should stop, get drowned, people should stop drinking water. So those reasons are not enough. And in any case, even the federal police at the moment, it's not being abused. Individuals are even abusing the police. There was a time in this country where some criminal elements, 419 elements were going about with police and escort and this kind of thing. So what we need really, either federal police or state police, to have institutional safeguards that will not allow abuse. By state police, we are not saying that let the governors go and kill their thugs and call it state police. No. If you look at the recommendations, we have put in place measures. In each state, there will be police council that will be made up of every strata of society. So it's not the governor outfit that the governor will now say, okay, all my party thugs, so go and sew uniform for them. They are state police. No. There are stringent measures that are put in place, and it's all about building institutions. That's what we need. So that is not enough arguments to say that we should not have state police. In every federation, federalism is about the fact that there's a given territory that is governed by tiers of governments that are coordinates. So if any level of government can make laws, they should have the capacity to enforce those laws. And go to a proper federation. If you go to America today, they have gone beyond state police, local police. Universities have police, their own police. So it's about strengthening our institutions to prevent abuses, either federal police or state police. In any case, again, some of the states we are also talking about, like I told you along, they are bigger than many countries in Africa. If they are as a country, won't they have for military? Won't they have for a police? Won't they have everything? The Cape Verde, that's how many people? Less than 500,000 people. They have a standing army. They have a police, they have a thing and the rest. So you now say Lagos, with this similar people, the governor there cannot organize police. And in any case, when you read our recommendations, in tandem with all other recommendations, you see that governance and leadership will not remain at the level which it is at the moment. There have been improvements in the quality of leadership in our country that are more responsible, accountable, caring, leadership for service, not leadership for self, which is mostly what we have at the moment.
Okay, is the introduction of the old national anthem so important that it will change the way things are in Nigeria? The conference have to consider that?
Well, you could see, if you watch the proceeding, the day that thing was done, and that anthem was sung, you could see the way, the emotion, the passion that went into it, because it speaks more to our nationhood. Though tribes and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. You could see the ecstasy in the hall. You could see the way. In fact, I think really that resonates more with the spirit of the new Nigeria that we have in mind. A Nigeria where we all work hand in hand, with respect, mutual respect for ourselves, to understand what we strive to have is a salad bowl nation. When you take a bowl of salad, you have different ingredients with their identities, but it's a combination of these that makes a salad. So there's no Ateco salad. It's a combination of these ingredients. And when you take a bowl of salad, you can see that this tomato, this lettuce, this egg, this, that. There's no item there that's called salad. It's a combination of all of them.
Identify them.
So Nigeria should aspire to be a salad bowl nation, where we have different, where in our diversity, we preserve our unity.
Now, let's look at this critically. Has the conference considered a very, very fundamental issue in this nation, where people do not see themselves as Nigerians, first of all? They see themselves as their local tribes, then the state they come from, the region which they come from, before they call themselves Nigerians. Now, has the conference considered how that trend could be changed, that people in Nigeria will first of all consider themselves as Nigerians before talking about the differences and the diversities inherent?
Yes, because that is the situation, because we have not created a nation. We are just pretending about it. And Nigeria is a country. In any case, if Achebe said there was a country, there is no longer a country. Because we have you know, we have a wound, and we just put plaster on it, no medication. I think that it will heal. No, it will become gangrenous. In 1972, Nigeria was going to host the Olympic Games, and the organizers felt that the best way to do was to rebrand Lagos. So from the airport to Stadium Zulere, on both sides of the road, they put green, white, green panels long enough so that people will not see the city. And those look very beautiful. And everything was fine. Everything was okay. Until a foreign journalist took a ladder and went behind those panels to take the photograph of the shanties. And that was the end of the rebranding. So a problem is not solved until you have solved it. People are not going to see themselves as Nigerians until we create that Nigeria where everybody has a sense of belonging, where nobody is intimidated by the other, where no one uses terror to bargain for power, where no one says either my way or the highway, where there's mutual understanding, where we sit at the table of brotherhood and we agree based on consensus. Until we build that Nigeria where a man from the smallest tribe and a man from the biggest tribe can sit as equal partners in Nigerian projects, where people have a sense of belonging as a stakeholder, you're not going to have it. And that's why today people see themselves in terms of their units, where they come from, rather than as a Nigerian. So, and if we implement the recommendation of this conference, we are going to build that inclusive nation where each fragment will be proud to surrender their identity for the national ethos.
But the conference, has the conference looked at it as a particular problem and further recommendations, or is looking at its general recommendations will automatically take care of this issue?
In fact, when you look at when you get to cover the report, you see something there. I think it was it was supposed to be Pastor Tunde Bakari in our committee on political restructuring and forms of government. It was approved, and the whole conference approved. As part of the report, it was a charter for national integration. Because at the moment, Nigeria is based on amalgamation. You got amalgamation in 1914. That's based on our union at the moment. And everywhere the British went to do this, most of it have collapsed. It has collapsed in India. It has collapsed in it's collapsed in Sudan. Britain itself, that put all this together. Next week, they're having a referendum in Scotland. Yes, it's taking the lead now. So we need to move away from amalgamation to integration. And in this report, there's a charter for national integration. And if we put all these reports together and implement them, there's a basis to integrate Nigeria. So that in the next century, when it's the next centenary, I don't be talking about Lugadian amalgamation. We'll be talking about Gunatian integration in 2014. So we need to integrate. There's a charter for national integration in that report.
Now, how do these recommendations see the light of the day, looking at the issue of the National Assembly, which is running, and then these recommendations are coming, an ongoing constitutional review and all that? Will these recommendations see a proper, proactive, and effective implementation?
Well, we have helped the president. We have made his job very easy, and I think the committee has set up, the interministerial committee, their job is called out for them. The way we did our report, we have segmented it. There are policy issues which we separated. That one the president can start implementing from next week. In fact, like some of us said, those are not only the issues why you call it national conference. There are issues the presidential candidate will address in his manifesto. So those ones can start implementation. There are issues of law. Change this electoral act, change the qualification age for the governor, remove this asset declaration. These are issues of law. Those are for National Assembly. The constitutional issues, how we are constituted, those are issues for a national referendum for the people, and we have also helped them. They said that they drafted a new constitution. No, what we did was, what the conference secretary did, was to take all our decisions where they have brutalized the national constitution, remove those provisions in the national constitution, put the new provisions we have suggested, and to say this is how our constitution look like if these provisions are infected. So all the president need to do is to take the national constitution, and the amended, which some of us call it new constitution, but for those, because of those who are raising scaremongering, okay, amended draft. Take the truth to the people of Nigeria. Which one do you want? Yes or no? Simple. And then we have an autochthonous constitution. And we are glad. I'm glad that when the president was receiving the report, he did say in his speech that all arms of government and the people of Nigeria should be ready for the different roles the report will assign to them. So we are waiting for the implementation, and Nigerians also must get this report, must read it, bind to it, take it, and hold the president feet to fire to ensure that he leads, because everything is a waste of time. Let's hold 200 elections. If you don't address these structural problems of Nigeria, we'll get nowhere. Since independence, we have always looked back to say that the previous government is better than the existing one, because the structure is a structural damage, and so nothing will work until we change these structures, and everything will just be palliative. We just complaining, lamenting, because there are fundamental issues that has to do with the structure of the country. And like if the Christian will say that if the foundation be faulty, what will the righteous do?
Now, what you have enumerated now look like things that will have to go several stages. The policy issue, the law issues, and then the constitutional issue. Yes. Now, because Nigerians were thinking that immediately after the conference, we'll begin to see results. But it seems now like it has to go through a lot of process. And isn't it worrisome, because from past experiences and records, now every issue that has to go through a long process in Nigeria always ends up in deadlock?
Well, we didn't go to the conference to stage a coup. If you are going there to stage a coup as a fellow Nigerians, this conference often starts from today, this and the rest. No, it's a process-led thing. There was a process that led to the convention of the conference. There's a process that will lead to the implementation. But let me tell you, if you want to preserve this country, we just must implement those recommendations. Those recommendations made the life wire, the key to the survival of Nigeria as a corporate entity. It's only those who hate this country, that want to destroy this country, that don't want this country to continue, that will say we should not implement those things. In fact, it's as if all the central forces are now waiting what will happen to the report of this conference. And I think it's in the best interest of this country. And for the president himself, every right thing that he's doing now will pay to insignificance. Let him tie the roads in Nigeria. In 20 years' time, they will be bad. But but Lugard amalgamated Nigeria in 1914, we are still talking about this today. If he sees this through, this is the major transformation agenda that it can have. It will be a centenary legacy for Nigeria. That at the time Nigeria was at the edge of the precipice, when the pundits are saying that next year, between now and next year, Nigeria will no more, that a president came and guided us to a new structure that created a Nigeria of possibilities, a new Nigeria, where people are ready to live together and put the pundits to run, that this country will not disintegrate. That's your giant task. And if you have a sense of history, you must not miss this historical opportunity.
Now, the conference just ended, and just a few weeks after that, you see the political tempo has risen, and everyone's attention is on the 2015 elections.
Sure.
Will there be time to see through these implementations, and everything is on the elections in 2015?
Well, for some of us, really, initially, our thoughts would have been that, look, let us finish this before we go for election based on the new constitution. But the politicians, ever eager for power not to serve, but for self, will not want that. Okay, so let them go for elections. Some of us also believe that the recommendations of this conference will become an election issue. Politicians aspiring to office will have to tell Nigerians where they stand on the report of this conference, because that is the key. That's the future of Nigeria. How many elections have we had in Nigeria? What have we resolved? Nothing. They have completed the problems. Every electoral cycle, we bring a set of people to come and become billionaires, multi-millionaires, and the rest. Why the people are getting more and more impoverished? In 1999, when we started this experiment, the incidence of poverty in Nigeria was 46%. After 15 years of so-called nascent democracy, or whatever you call it, poverty has gone to 76% in the lives of the ordinary people. And yet, go to that airport today, Lagos and Abuja, the kind of private jets we never saw in this country in 1999 are littered everywhere there now. Which industries do those who have those planes? The beyond politics. So it's all about themselves. But Nigerians have spoken at this conference that things can no longer be done the old way, and we must move in a new direction if we are to make progress. And that's why it's important for us that this is implemented to the letter to preserve the unity of this country, to create Nigeria that works, and a Nigeria that creates enabling environments for citizens to fulfill their potentials, that we are not locked in this arrested development, in this backwardness, in this underdevelopment that's a lot as a country.
Now, do you feel that there are issues that should have been considered in this conference that have been left out?
Well, I don't think that one conference can discuss every issue in the life of any country. For me, a country is a daily dialogue. You don't exhaust discussion about a nation. There's no nation that you exhaust all discussion at one conference. But this conference has gone a long way in terms of the depth of discussion, resolution seeking. It has done well. And it's not a conference to head all conferences. In a few years' time, and then maybe another conference will come. And then we'll see where we are, and then where we should move into. But we could not have discussed every issue under the sun at one conference.
All right, thank you very much, Yinka Odumakin, for obliging to be on Core Digest. Due to our time, we'll have to round up here, and hope we'll have the opportunity to continue next time. Viewers, it's been Core Digest, and I've been talking with a delegate from the just concluded national conference, Yinka Odumakin. We discussed Waiting Jonathan's implementation from a delegate's perspective. Core Digest continue after this timeout. Stay with us.
Core TV News, expanding your view.